What's up? Yo, what's up? Y'all ready for another round? Here we are. In honor of the day I was born, Friday the 13th, we are going through 5 through 8. Now, this was part 5, the new beginning. As we ended on part 4, the strategy of Paramount and the makers of Friday the 13th decided they wanted to keep the money train rolling. They knew they had to bring Jason to an end, but they needed to keep this money train rolling with this hockey mask. So they said, well, the mask is the star. And Jason Hill, he could just fade out. Tommy will be our new Jason. But they knew they had to bridge him to the new beginning. So they had to have a transferable period where Tommy is at an insane asylum based on what happened. And then he tried to attack his sister. So they put him in a mental institution. So there's a new Jason in town, and it's not Tommy. It winds up being that this Jason was a whole different Jason altogether. He happened to be a paramedic because his son got chopped up to pieces at a mental institution in one of the funniest scenes in Friday the 13th's history. You got Joanna Man in there getting sliced up, and this guy ended up being Jason, being possessed by the spirit of Jason after his son was hacked into pieces. So at the end of the movie, as you can see Tommy sitting in the bed, he's seeing pictures of Jason. And they decided Tommy was going to be Jason at the end of part 5. This was clearly him going back to camp, him seeing everything since all of this had went down, and you see him with the Jason mask there. He was completely out of his rabbit mind. This had some very funny scenes in it, though. A lot of people said this was the worst one. At its time, it was the worst one, but it had a lot of funny lines in it and a lot of funny scenes. And Dudley was our guy. Oh, wait a minute. They went to part 3 of him. Dudley was our guy. And the reason why Dudley was our guy was because of one simple reason. The Facts of Life was a hit show, and Different Strokes brought in his best friend Dudley. And they always said, what would happen if a black guy was in Jason Friday the 13th? What would happen if a real black guy was in there? Joanna Man was in this one as well. He got diced up. But, right. They was like, man, these guys, man, they running, man. We would have, man, I'd have took off. So they put Dudley in there to satisfy the brothers. And he didn't disappoint. As Dudley got out of there, quick. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Dudley was out of there. And then they tried to bring Dudley back for part 6. In the original script for Friday the 13th part 6, him and Tommy was supposed to be the new Jason. And he went back to kill this girl. And Dudley. Dudley went back to the camp and ended up getting killed by Jason. Jay Dudley was like, look, no, the black guy gonna live this time. Y'all ain't finna kill me off. I ain't coming back to get killed. So that's it. Y'all had to get a whole new character because my character is not finna die on the screen. That is out. And it'll have been an uproar for them to have a brother get killed, especially this brother. So that's what happened in part 5. They were going to make Tommy the new Jason, and this was the introduction. This movie was received with a lot of boos because of that fact. Now, if you remember me talking about it before, you remember how I always talked about part 5 being a big disappointment, but the fans were more disappointed than anybody because the fans were livid. They were extremely livid over the fact that they managed to have Tommy be Jason. They were like, no, this is terrible. So they bashed the crap out of the movie. The fans realized the mask the hockey mask wasn't the reason they wanted. They wanted Jason. That was just it. That's the one they relate to the most. That's the one they want. They want Jason. Okay, did y'all see part 5? Well, next came a legend in the field. It brought back Jason. Friday the 13th, part 6. There it is. That was when Jason had some gloves. They gave Jason some gloves and a mask. After the fans' disappointment with Tommy being the new Jason, they decided to bring Tommy back as a hero, as he was going to try to end Jason once and for all. He digs up Jason's grave with his friend Horseshack from Welcome Back Kotter. And they decided they were going to go in there and take care of Jason. So they're deciding to take care of Jason. He digs Jason up, sticks a metal rod in his chest, lightning strikes. Next thing you know, Jason's brought back to life. And not only did lightning strike once, it struck like 2 times and brought Jason back to life. And Jason was back bigger and better than ever, now as a complete zombie with maggots pouring out of his head. The running Jason is out. Yep, the running Jason Voorhees is out. Now you're going to see a whole new Jason. And this was the first time we saw Jason killing in the daylight. Really, like in part 3, he did some daytime killings, but it was mostly in the barn. Here, he was out, and you were able to see Jason a lot throughout the movie. Like before, you didn't see Jason as much. Jason would only appear at the end. You would only see him at the end. Normally be first person, or you see him in a slight second before a murder took place. But other than that, you didn't see Jason. Here, they showed a lot of shots of Jason walking through the. He even killed some paintballers. It was a whole different type of Jason, but it was to bring the fans back. And a funny thing about this movie is the fact that they had this playing with Transformers the movie. The cartoon Transformers the movie. The second film that was coming on next was this, Jason Part 6. Who made that lineup is beyond me. It was the dumbest thing ever. Jason being brought back to life. But it was the dumbest thing ever. Transformers the movie came out right with this movie. They played it in a double feature. And the fact that they played this in a double feature, you had kids in there watching Transformers the movie, then this came in. Who was going to be the kid that was going to pull out and go home? That was the kid that was going to hear about it. That was the kid that was going to hear about it. You can't pull out. You got to stay. And I was cool with watching Friday the 13th Part 6. The rest of them were not. You saw kids in fear. They were terrified. I was like, because I'm rooting for Jason. People was like, man, I want to go home. The one dude was like, man, I can't take it. I'm scared. And they just broke out. We was like, all right, we going to roast them. Make the list. They made the list. They got to get roasted. Anybody who left, the entire school was in there. Anybody who left was a punk. And they were going to get humiliated. You do not leave. And I was like, I'm cool. I'm cool. Shoot, it was like music to my ears. I ain't going nowhere. I had my cousin there with me. Me and him watched Jason Part 6 together. As Jason was back walking through the woods, chopping up paintballers. Then the guy shot Jason with the paint. It's pretty funny. Jason was killing people in a Winnebago. I thought it was pretty interesting. Six is one of my. I like it. I should do a list like they did today, like making the worst through through the best and all that stuff. Which one is? But I had to really sit down and write it down. Cause do I put Freddy versus Jason in there, and then the new Friday the 13th in there? I had to put them all in there. If we reviewing them on that standpoint. And here comes part 7. Part 7 was key. Well, you got to think about it. I spent a lot of time talking about me watching the movie. Once they brought Jason back, let me break it down real quick. They brought Jason back because the story is pretty much the same. It went back to the roots for the first time. Camp counselors. They went back to camp counselors in part 6, which was the original format in the first place. You got these people out here with these kids. So Jason, it had a lot of terrifying scenes of just Jason outside. Like the part when the girl is telling her there's no boogeyman, and she leans up and Jason's outside the window, and as she's walking out, you see Jason following her from outside of the window. That was a real creepy moment. Then the little kid who's sitting there watching, and she's praying that everything goes away while she got her blankie. She's praying everything is fixed and goes away. She's like, and Jason, she looks up and Jason's in the room with her. And Jason looks down on her, and then she closes her eyes using the prayer that the girl told her to make the demons go away. And then Jason disappears when she opens her eyes because he heard something outside. But what was best about part 6 was that sheriff, the dad. And once he saw Jason and he got away from Jason, and then his daughter was out there who liked Tommy, thought Tommy was cute and all this, and telling him to keep his head down. She was all into Tommy. So then his partner with the red beam on the gun, wherever the red dot goes, bang. So that idiot was in the movie. Soon as these things start happening, you start seeing all this craziness going on in the film. That's when the infrared scopes was big. You saw them in, Cobra and everything then. And infrared beam. Wherever the red dot goes, bang. So he got Bob Backlund. Oh yeah, he did. That was hilarious. I mean, but he went out for his daughter. He was, no, not her. Dad tackled him. He tackled Jason. He hit him with a long crack. Grabbed a rock, crack. He was hitting him all up on the head. Dad was going in. Now, that was a great performance because that's a dad. That's what a dad's supposed to do. Dad went in with that rock. Oh, no, you ain't. Not this one. Tackle. Dad had already shot him like 2-3 times. He turned around and hit him with that 12 gauge. Pow! Da-da-da-da. Every time he got up, pow! Da-da-da-da. Pow! Then he had to go to the revolver. Shot Jason right in the middle of the forehead. Pow! Jason's head came back. Started coming forward. He was, oh no. Dad put it in the wind. Dad put it in the wind. Pops was up. Jason wasn't getting him. Pops, he knew Pops didn't go that far. He was just snapping in the woods. Like, wait a minute. Something feel wrong here. Pops is around here somewhere. Pops is digging in there hiding. Then his daughter, he heard his daughter verse. Jason was just finna leave. Daddy! He turns around, starts going back towards the camp. Next thing you know, no. He went and tackled her, and it was, him and Pops went at it. He went at it. Now, the reason why I do it like this, because I'm doing all the Paramount ones, the ones that was done with the same company, the real Jasons. That's why I say it's 1 through 8. That's the way it's supposed to be. Everything else, it went to New Line Cinema, and yeah. So, here we are now. We go to part 7, the one that everybody seemed to like the most. The New Blood. It featured Jason versus a girl who had powers. And it was the introduction and the Kane Hodder who became the best Jason ever with the sleeping bag kill. Who remembers the sleeping bag kill? Now, this is the story of a girl who dad died. She wished her dad died. She had special powers. And she always regretted that she thinks she caused her father to die. And they kept trying to put her to stop using her powers. And this one doctor trying to make money off of her instead of trying to help her get better. He brought her out there to bring back the emotions to get her stronger. But now you had somebody with powers who could equally challenge Jason, make stuff happen. It became a classic moment. Tina, yep. Some classic scenes was done in here. And the Paramount one was definitely the real and perfect, exact Jason that we needed. They had it right. She kept tearing Jason up. I mean, Jason was getting torn up by her. She was making stuff happen. Her powers was on point. And she was tearing him up. And for the first time, somebody was chasing Jason. She was chasing him down. She accidentally brought Jason back because he was still underwater from where Tommy left him when he put him back in Camp Crystal Lake, put a rock around his neck and left him in the water. So he's still down there. He was still alive, but he's still stuck down there. And for some reason, he could not break the chain in the rock to get out of there from Camp Crystal Lake. But in the end, she ends up summoning her father with her special powers to bring her father back to life. Her father came back. Pops came up. He was reborn. Pop came out that water like, hey, what's going on, man? What's for dinner? Oh, you messing with my daughter? Hit Jason in the knees, threw a chain around him, and drug him back under that water. I was, go ahead, Pops. Do your thing, Pops. Pops tore him up. As part 7 is definitely a lot of us, you know, our favorite, one of our faves. So, without a doubt, that was it. Now, part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. When this came out, part 8, Jason had hit his all-time peak. Once again, they started listening to the brothers. The brothers said, look, if Jason was in the city, man, shoot, man, Jason would get towed up. You see, that's why he in the woods, man, because if Jason was in the city, we'd have towed Jason up, man. Imagine Jason was in the project, man, we would have towed Jason up. Ain't no way Jason could have survived. Man, I'd have hit him with a Uzi, Joe. For real. Jason Takes Manhattan was supposed to be Jason going to New York City, hunting down somebody who escaped. This is the original script. I'm going to tell you. Jason in the Hood. That was basically it. Jason was supposed to go through Brooklyn, all the neighborhoods and everything. And in New York City. All the people was going to get their answer to what was going to happen if Jason went to the city in the hood. So Jason Takes New York was supposed to be an entirely different film. And the thing about it is, it didn't really... a lot of the scenes weren't in New York because they only had a budget of $5 million. It was the lowest budget they ever had. Paramount was in trouble. They were hemorrhaging at cash. And Freddy was bigger than life. Freddy had taken over the whole horror movie genre, and they were like, look, we ain't afraid of Freddy, because Freddy was coming out. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, was coming out at movie theaters, and everybody, they had took the Friday the 13th date for the movie to drop. And they were like, look, we're not afraid of, we got Jason. Jason is our guy, and Jason has held us down for 7. We got Jason. And Jason is going to be chasing, and we ain't afraid to go up against Freddy. So everybody was, oh, it's going down, Freddy and Jason, side by side. They come out on the same day. And on the same day, they dropped Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 5, The Dream Child, versus Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan. They came out side by side. See, this is what a lot of people don't understand. That's why I'll give you the details behind everything that happens. So, when that happened, it had so much built hype. And this is what ended up leading to Freddy versus Jason and all of this stuff here, because all of the hype and the publicity both sides was using. Like, they were basically crapping on Friday the 13th. And like, oh, Jason's old. How many times he's going to keep walking around? And then they were like, well, what about Freddy Krueger? How many times are you going to... They done killed him like 7 times. You done used holy water. You done buried him. Now why is he still alive? The souls of the children are gone. How is he still living? What is going on with Freddy? They don't even have a reason for bringing him back. Like, how? What's the excuse now? So they were crapping on each other's projects. It was real funny, and it was a real war. Now, breaking down the movie, because Paramount didn't have the budget money to compete with Nightmare on Elm Street, this movie was supposed to be filmed with a girl that got away, and she goes to New York City. And Jason tracks her down to New York City. He leaves. He wants to get this woman so bad. She escapes on a boat or whatever, on a ship, and they end up dragging Jason all the way there to New York. He's supposed to go to all these towns in New York, and there was a big showdown on top of in the Statue of Liberty. That's where she ends up running to. They have a big fallout in the Statue of Liberty, and Jason, they're fighting over there by the torch, like you seen in X-Men. And Jason falls from the Statue of Liberty. And that's how that one was supposed to end. Jason falls from the Statue of Liberty. But because they didn't have the budget, we didn't get that. What we got was an entire movie shot on a boat. 90% of the movie was shot on a boat, the cruise boat, where Jason then killed half of these people on a cruise on their way to New York City. And then when he actually gets there, you got a couple of chase scenes of Jason when he finally hits Manhattan. They had some cool shots, but other than that, everything was about being on this boat. Welcome to New York. Somebody's trying to kill me. Welcome to New York. She is completely 80s New York, Brooklyn, with all that makeup on. Working at a restaurant. A maniac's trying to kill me. Welcome to New York. So it ends up ending with this girl throwing toxic waste on Jason in a sewer because they didn't have the budget to keep filming in New York City. There was going to be a tremendous scene on the Brooklyn Bridge, Madison Square Garden, department stores. They had everything set up, but Jason couldn't. No budget leads to this being your ending. Toxic waste thrown on Jason. So, needless to say, that ended the franchise for Paramount. Paramount gave up on Jason. It went up against Freddy. Freddy destroyed it in the box office. And once Freddy destroyed this movie in the box office, I mean, I remember going to see it. I'm like, man, I saw both movies, but nobody was going to see Friday the 13th. I mean, nobody was going to see, yeah, exactly, Friday the 13th Part 8. Nobody was going to see that. It had ran its course. The line for Freddy was around the corner. And truthfully honest, I enjoyed Part 8 more than I enjoyed The Dream Child. I thought The Dream Child was trash. I thought that was one of the worst Nightmare on Elm Street I've ever seen. The Dream Child. It made no sense. None whatsoever. They brought in a new makeup crew to do Freddy's makeup because Freddy, with the burn marks, they had to put him on screen a lot. So to promote Freddy now and show his face, they couldn't have him look so grotesque. So it kind of got to look like it's plastic. It looks so fake. His makeup from Part 5 on looked terrible. Yeah, this was the start of the downfall of Freddy. It started with The Dream Child. They wanted to rush a movie out so that they could compete with Friday the 13th and take down Jason. And they did. Just off the hype of Friday the 13th. I mean, of Nightmare on Elm Street. So now that that's done, they didn't think about making a good film. Now that that project was done, I said one of the worst. Robert Englund explained what went wrong with that Freddy Krueger. It wasn't the performance of Freddy Krueger. It's that they wanted to reintroduce Freddy to the younger audience, so they made a remake. But if you do that, they just released a DVD set of all the Freddys together and put them out right before the movie came out. So you're reintroducing this to the younger audience. They're going to watch the old Freddys. And then Freddy versus Jason wasn't that long ago. So they still remember that. And then you come out with a new one. It's like you just eliminated this whole new movie you just made. Because now they're going to compare that performance with the old Freddy immediately. The younger audience is going to do that because you just gave them a box set to do it. You came out and released a box set right before the movie came out. So they've been watching the old Freddy. Now, the actor they got to play Freddy was good. I like the fact that Freddy was more serious and more sinister, which is exactly what the original script was. But as they were filming it, it started to go in a different direction. But we'll save that for Freddy Krueger Friday. But today is Friday the 13th. Let's focus on Jason. New Line Cinema bought Jason because it was cheap and they wanted to do it and they wanted to make Freddy versus Jason built off the hype that happened with Part 8. So now that we made it, what's up, Domo? Now that we made it to Part 8, this is what we kept seeing the fallout to be. Where every time they get to this point. Part 8 came along, and now plans and everything shift. Like a Titanic plate. Here comes New Line Cinema with their pet project of we got to build Jason, but we got to get Jason back. We got to build Jason up. It's like a boxing match. It's like what boxing promoters do. We got to build up Jason again, so that people will want to see him versus Freddy. And they come out with one of the worst movies ever because they let fans direct the film. People who loved Jason, grew up watching it, loved it, and said, I want to do it. I finally get to do a Jason movie? Cool, this is going to be rad. You know, we got to make Jason Goes to Hell. This is it. The final Friday. Now, I was going to make this 1 through 8. But since we on a roll, let's go through the rest of these. Because I don't think I want to make another video talking about these horrible movies ever again. The ones that we finna go through right now. Now, when things starts to get worse, it gets really, really bad. And when I mean really, really bad, you're talking Jason Goes to Hell. Jason becomes basically hunted down while he's out in the woods. They don't even explain or even continue with the story from Paramount where he's reduced back to a baby child after the toxic waste dissolves everything and he just drowns again. They just went away from all of it. And the curse of Jason was gone. Now they go to the wood where he's captured. He's captured by some, I don't know, crazy people who were stashed there. And then they capture him and they freeze him. And he gets caught in some experiment. And he was floating on a ship. And that's Jason X. I'm sorry, I'm going too far. Jason Goes to Hell is the one that was really hell. They blow Jason up. They catch Jason. They blow him up to pieces. They take him to a lab. And once they capture Jason and take him to this lab, his heart is beating and it hypnotizes this guy to bite the heart. And he just takes off and turns into Jason. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. This makes no sense whatsoever. So they went ahead and said, you know what? What we need to do is refocus ourselves and Jason is going from people's bodies now. He's just a curse that's plagued the world. And they had this ridiculous fight scene at the end right here. The mask is like sewn on his face so it can't come off. They stab him with a magical knife, which is the only thing that could kill Jason. And it's like, what are you talking about? This worm would come out, and only thing they did here was have Freddy's hand come up, his glove, appear out of nowhere, grab Jason's mask and drags him to hell. Like, I guess where Freddy is. To throw in, that's where we're gonna go next. Freddy versus Jason. But you wouldn't see it for like 10 more years. Because they came with the god-awful Jason X. This is the one I was talking about where Jason gets frozen, taken to the future in the year 2000 in a cryo prison where he's in there and they take him into a virtual reality world of Crystal Lake and he redoes the sleeping bag kill over and over again. So that's what made it an awesome showdown, you know. It had its moments. Jason X did. It's one of those movies you come home late from the club. Yeah, man, we just came home. You turn on the TV at 3 in the morning. It was already on. Jason X. And there's some funny scenes in there. But again, this is what happened with fans. Make a movie. Yeah, it's one of those B movie nights that come on at like 2 in the morning. Jason X. And there's always some fan that loves that movie. I'm like, yeah, if you're a video gamer all night, been going 10 hours strong on a video game all day, this may be your film. Oh, Doom? Know what you talking about? Doom with The Rock? It did kind of have that Doom-like feel to it. Mel Brooks directed Jason X. That's how the feel was. It was hilarious. Because I'm like, this is too funny to believe. He just wanted his knife back. He puts down the futuristic blade to grab a machete. Then he starts slicing them up with that. I'm like, what? He just wanted his knife. That's all. Slice. Oh! It was so ridiculous. They started doing that. Leprechaun in space. They put the leprechaun in space. Then they turn around. Not only do they put the leprechaun in space, they put Pinhead in space too. From Hellraiser in space. I'm like, my goodness, if you just want to get rid of somebody, just get rid of them. Why you got throwing them in space? Oh, the leprechaun, man, they wore that into the ground. Then it leprechaun in the hood. Leprechaun with a baby mama. Leprechaun working at the bank. I want my gold, my lad. Who's got my gold? They took a movie that was funny, that was supposed to be scary. Like the horror movie Rumpelstiltskin. This ain't no fairy tale. I look at Rumpelstiltskin like, hey, he got robbed. That chick lied on him. She promised him the baby. She promised him the baby if he was to wool this thing into gold. And he did. He wove it to gold for her, and she was supposed to give him the baby. And then he was like, hey, I'm here to collect the baby. And they was like, no, he tried to kidnap the baby. No, we had a deal. She lies. They was, no, you don't, Rumpelstiltskin. You a liar. I'm like, she made the deal. She the one made the deal. Evil Dead on right now. Evil Dead stay in high rotation. It's funny, especially Evil Dead 2. But yes, Jason X ended the franchise before they ended up coming back with Freddy versus Jason. And Freddy versus Jason was done absolutely correct. It was done so well. I was like, wow, I was shocked. Because I didn't even want to go see it when it came out. I was like, man, I'm not going to see this garbage, man. This is like a complete money grab. No way I'm going to see this. So when it first came out, I didn't go see it. I let my cousin them go see it, and he came back and told me like, no, man, it was live. Like, no. he was like Freddy versus Jason. He's like, man, that was live. You got to go check that out. So I said, all right, man, I'm gonna go check this out. So I went to check it out, and I was like, oh man, this was actually pretty good. And what I mean by pretty good is that the script made sense. On how was you gonna mix Jason and Freddy together, and how he's gonna get that to work. The fact that the children of, have forgotten him, and he needs them to remember him so he can come back, bring the legacy of Freddy back by having Jason go on a killing spree over on Elm Street. And it's funny that when they were on Elm Street and Jason was on Elm Street, they played Jason's music on Elm Street. And then when they go to the forest, they went to the forest to where Jason's at. They start playing Freddy music. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh! I was like, yeah, that's what was up. You see, that's where the brothers, the reason why it went left is because the brothers love Freddy. I mean, people would debate in chat rooms who was better, Freddy or Jason. And people be like, man, I like Jason, man, but Freddy, he got the words, man. Freddy be having me the words. I'm like, do you realize that they are the bad guys? These are the killers. You're not supposed to be rooting for them. You're supposed to be rooting for the people to survive. You're not supposed to be rooting for the killers. So how can you be scared of the movies when you're not going in there to be scared? You in there to root for the doggone bad guy. Come on, Freddy, yeah. I'm like, so they embraced it. So they said, forget trying to do character development. Forget these people. They just sheep. And we need to just keep throwing more sheep out there for the hero to come. And then they had Jason be funny, and Robert Englund was like, there was some more sinister lines he wanted to use. But after part 3, everybody wanted more comedy. And they like, we gotta have a comedy. So he just kept the comedy going after the third one. And they love part 3. That's everybody's favorite. I've never seen anybody who said part 3 wasn't their favorite. But anyway, as it relates to Freddy versus Jason, the premise was good. The fact that he couldn't stop Jason from killing, so he had to try to put Jason out of his misery and battle him and go inside Jason's head and get inside his mind, that was exciting to me. It led to an end climactic scene where they were fighting on Earth, where Freddy had his powers and Jason still had his power. That was a great battle scene at the end. It was very well thought out. The ending was great, and everybody really won. And you saw him take out Kelly Rowland. Ooh, Freddy, you're not even scary. You got your little wincy little eyes, and Jason's got this big hole. And he's looking like, look behind you. Wah! Well, a lot of people like Freddy versus Jason. How could you not? Freddy versus Jason was, to me, a very great accomplishment in film history. And then came the remake of Friday the 13th. A lot of people didn't like the remake. I like the remake. The remake put like 3 or 4 of them in one. So it's like, how could you not like that? Yeah, Freddy gave him the business the entire movie. Freddy only killed one. Yep. Well, I'm out of here, y'all. Yeah, it's time for me to get out and get into the world. This has been fun. I appreciate it. Friday the 13th, honoring the day I was born. I was born on Friday the 13th. Not today is my birthday. So don't tell me happy birthday. I was born on Friday the 13th. So I'm out. Love, peace, and hair grease.